because they're pretty much saying we can get it taken off of his school record, but it's still going to show in I guess in the record with the fact that he has an IEP or he qualified to have an IEP. Okay. But I'm like, how the information for the IEP could even be inaccurate at this point, because how did one speech therapist get one score and then you guys get a completely different score? And then what a coincidence, you guys accidentally put my son in speech. After all that situation happened, then you accidentally put this child, my child in a speech class.
Right.
How many other kids are y'all doing this accidentally to? And what about this test? Are y'all giving it to certain children? Are y'all giving it to children that look like me? Are y'all trying to get IEPs in your school system for funds?
Of course they are, for money.
So it was just a lot of red flags for me. Not to mention I have had issues or problems with this particular school before. So
okay, no problem. Well, listen, I want you to keep fighting for the removal of that. You know, if you need me to look at the letter or whatever before you send it in, you know, just let me know. You can send it to me. I can take a look at it. But yeah, you should continue to fight to get that removed because it should not be there.
Okay, and do you think I do have grounds, even though I gave them permission to test him and they gave him an IEP score? You think I have a
well? You know what should probably happen? A couple things. Number one, the IEP should be removed. The evaluation probably cannot be, but the evaluation can be corrected to state that this child does not have a speech problem. You feel me?
Okay, and that's what I was like, I can understand your records can't be, but it should be something in your record saying this was not accurate. The test was wrong.
Right.
But okay.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Keep me posted, Queen.
Well, thank you, and you have a blessed day.
You too now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hello?
Good morning, Sister Shania. Where are you calling from, Queen?
I'm calling from San Diego, California.
San Diego, California. I'll be there sometime this month at the World Beat Cultural Center speaking. Go right ahead, Queen. Tell me what your question is.
So I have a daughter who's 4, and she's mixed race. She's black and white.
Okay.
I'm also a veteran as well.
Okay.
Father is military as well, currently active. But he's been kind of in and out her life and prioritized more of his military career over our child together. So I've been doing most of the parenting alone. But for context, just a little quick background. I didn't grow up with my father. I did have my mother, but I haven't spoke to my mom in like 5-6 years because she's been very emotionally, physically abusive to me when I was a child. And I experienced sexual trauma by one of her partners when I was a child. And now that I have a child of my own, she's the only child. She's 4. And she's starting to display behaviors of, hitting, biting, yelling. And, I'm just trying to see what I'm doing wrong. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong as a parent. I try to provide emotional support for my kid, although I didn't have that by my parent. So I just really want to, figure out where I'm going wrong.
Has your daughter witnessed any domestic violence or abuse?
Mommy? No. Okay. She's with me, but her father did. Like, he'll see her. He'll randomly reach out and want to see her, and I do my part. I bring her to him, and he'll see her for that little time and then just doesn't see her for months after that.
Okay, so it could be the stress of not seeing her father consistently. She hasn't observed any violence. And does she get enough face-to-face attention from you?
No. I think the reason why he's not really involved with her is because he wants to be with me. But I just told him, I just want to co-parent. I know he has his own issues. He had a stepfather that I think committed suicide back then. So I don't know if that's where I think he has some type of trauma going on his own. But he wasn't really faithful during our relationship. And, I couldn't deal with it no more. I was in the service as well, and I just couldn't deal. I was dealing with my own problems, childhood trauma, PTSD, anxiety.
Okay.
And I couldn't take it no more.
And your daughter, does she get enough face-to-face time with you as mother?
Yes.
Yes.
So I go to school full time, and I work full time right now. She also goes to school, but I make sure that I set a time for her and I when we're at home. So I try to bond with her over certain things and activities that she likes, such as like she likes magnet tiles, or whenever I'm going through a stressful, when she's having a meltdown, I'll sit with her and be like, why are you feeling this way? Or I try to model the behavior that I want seen from her, if that makes sense.
Okay. When you are at work and school, who is she with?
She's at preschool. She's at preschool with her teachers, other kids.
Okay, because she could be learning those behaviors from the other children.
Yeah, that's what the teachers were telling me the other day, because she was so well, very well, never had problems out of her. And then she started coming home doing gun signs with her hands and stuff. And I'm like, where is this coming from?
Right.
Like, she bit me a couple days ago. And that's the first time she's ever done that to me. So I'm shocked. And I'm like, her pediatrician was telling me she needs speech therapy, behavioral therapy. And for some reason, I don't think she needs that, because I'm like, she never would do that.
So let me ask you this. Is it also possible that she's being mistreated by the staff or the children at the center, and she's just coming home acting out her frustration with her behavior?
She does come home and tell me that this boy in her class is always like picking on her, hitting on her or something. So I did address that with teachers several times, and they've talked to his parents. So right now they have my daughter separate. Like, they will put her in a separate class away from those kids. But my daughter's like, I don't want to go to those classes because it's a different environment, and she's struggling with a new environment. And so it's just like, it's for the best, I feel like, because I don't want her around kids who may have those behaviors or their own things going on and passing that on to her.
And that might be her frustration.
Mm-hmm.
That might very well be the frustration right there. Now, the other thing, too, is you may have to observe that classroom. Just arrange for yourself to go in there and observe the class to see exactly what's going on, because there's more to this situation than just your daughter, but they're not telling you everything. Like, there might be other children who are triggering her. There might be other children triggering the whole class. The whole class could be disorganized. Like, you really don't know what it is, and they could be scapegoating your daughter. And so at one point, you may have to hire a psychologist or behavior specialist to go into that class and observe it to see exactly what's going on. If this continues, because you don't want to take their word for it. But the center is not pushing meds, though, right?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, and they're not trying to push your ADHD or nothing like that?
So far, no. They just told me, like, her pediatrician told me behavioral therapy for, like, I forgot what it's called. I think it's child and parent interaction therapy, something like that.
Okay. Now, why does she feel you need that, though?
I have no idea. I don't know. That's what she suggested. I was like, I don't think so. Because at home, she was fine. And ever since, I don't know, I guess it's been a lot of change of new staff, I would say, and kids. Because I noticed most of her kids that she first started with in the year graduated. So she doesn't graduate till this fall, well, in the summer, but to go to kindergarten. But all the staff has changed a lot, and the kids. So now that there's new kids and new staff, she's come home with behavioral issues.
When does she turn 5?
July 10th.
July 10th. Do you think she's bright enough to start kindergarten in the fall?
Yeah, she's very smart. She wants to do soccer. She's able to identify her emotions, especially when she's upset. I mean, I work with ABA kids myself, autism children myself. So I teach her some of those things, like, identifying the behaviors and, what's okay, what's not okay. And
okay, the reason I'm asking is you might want to contact your school district to see if they have early admission testing. A lot of school districts have early admission testing. That's a child who's a little less than the age they normally accept children for kindergarten. And they test them to see if they are intellectually and academically at the kindergarten level. And if they are, they can be admitted into kindergarten early. You might want to inquire about that. Since she'll be 5 in July, she might be able to start kindergarten in September or August, whenever they start up.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for that call, young lady.
You're welcome, sir. Have a good day.
You too now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Before I take the next call, I want to remind all my Michigan Africans. Before I take the next call, I want to remind all my Michigan Africans, my Detroit Africans, my Inkster Africans, my Highland Park Africans, my Ann Arbor Africans, my Ypsilanti, my Grand Rapids, my Big Rapids, my Kalamazoo, and my Lansing Africans that Dr. Umar is at Eastern Michigan University today. Dr. Umar is at Eastern Michigan University today. Dr. Umar is kicking off the 2025 99th anniversary of Black History Month at Eastern Michigan University today. The doors open up at 3 o'clock. The doors open up at 3 o'clock, brothers and sisters, and we will be at the Honors College Auditorium, 511 West Forest Avenue. That is the Honors College Auditorium, 511 West Forest Avenue. Today's program is from 4 until 7. Today's program in Ypsilanti, Michigan at Eastern Michigan University. Doors open up at 3 o'clock today. Program is from 4 until 7. Detroit, where are you? Detroit pull-up season. Eastern Michigan University today, Saturday, February the 1st at the Honors College Auditorium, 511 West Forest Avenue, 511 West Forest Avenue in Ypsilanti, Michigan, on the campus of Eastern Michigan University. Doors open up at 3. Program is from 4 until 7. My Cincinnati, Ohio Africans, I will see you Thursday, February the 20th at the Woodlawn Recreation Center. Thursday, February 20th at the Woodlawn Recreation Center, 150 Woodlawn Boulevard. That is 10050 Woodlawn Boulevard, presented by the Frederick Douglass Foundation of Ohio. Columbus, Ohio, Sunday, May the 25th, the Ohio Black Expo at the Riverfront. Columbus, Ohio, the Prince of Pan-Africanism is pulling up on Sunday, May the 25th at the Ohio Black Expo on African Liberation Day. My Stockholm, Sweden Africans of Europe, my Stockholm, Sweden Africans of Europe, my Stockholm, Sweden Africans of Europe. The Prince of Pan-Africanism is coming to Stockholm, Sweden, the first week of September. And to my HBCU Edward Waters University students, to my HBCU Edward Waters University students in Jacksonville, Florida, to my HBCU Edward Waters University students in Jacksonville, Florida, I will be pulling up on February the 13th, 7 p.m. in the Milne Auditorium. HBCU Edward Waters, Jacksonville, Florida, February the 13th, 7 p.m. in the Milne Auditorium on the campus of Edward Waters University. Let's go to the next call. Hit the Cash App, $ FDMG School. Hit the Cash App, $ FDMG School. Hit the PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Hit the PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG MG Academy. My Canada Africans, Malcolm X Week. I will be in Canada for a national tour. Toronto, Montreal, Nova Scotia. King Kong is back. Malcolm X Week. Toronto, north of the border, the 6th. I'm pulling up.
Hello.
Good morning, Sister Brittany. You live with Dr. Umar. How is Detroit treating you?
Oh, it's treating me well, Dr. Umar.
Okay, I'm in Detroit as well. I'm actually speaking this afternoon at Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti at 4 o'clock today inside the Honors College. If you can make it, or if you know of any folks who might want to make it, that's today at 4 o'clock at Eastern Michigan University.
Okay.
Go right.
Eastern Michigan?
Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti, not too far from Romulus, not too far from the airport.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that area.
Yes,
I'm downtown Detroit, though.
I got you. Go right ahead with your question, beautiful.
Okay, my son is 4 years old. He'll be 5 March 24th or whatever. So I had took him to the doctor probably like 2 months ago, and the doctor was telling me that he was fine or whatever like that he just needed speech therapy or whatever. So I had found a speech therapist or whatever like that. So they did the evaluation, and the speech therapist was saying that she thought that he probably have a stage 1 of autism or whatever like that, because he gets so easily distracted really fast or whatever. Noah is very smart. He know his ABCs, his numbers, or whatever. Like, he's very aware. He just like to play along or whatever like that sometimes, because he's the only child or whatever like that. So I wanted to ask you, what is the right time to know that if your kid is autistic or not? Or that's just the label that they most put on black little boys that have a lot of energy or whatever.
In my professional opinion, if it were me, I would not be seeking to get my child evaluated for autism before the 5th birthday.
Okay, before the 5th birthday?
Not before the 5th, preferably not before the 7th, but definitely not before the 5th. How old is he now?
He's 4.
Yeah, you want to give it another year.
I feel like he got a lot more to grow, because he's very smart, like I said. He follows directions very well. He's very independent. He's fully potty trained. You know, he just has, I work with him a lot, So, and I feel like he is progressing. You know, and I feel like every child is different. Every child is not going to learn the same way another child is going to learn. So that's what I think the problem is with the school system and just the world today. Anyway, they just feel like every kid has to be on this certain type of level at a certain age. And I don't feel like that. Because like I said, every child learns differently.
I completely agree with you. Here's the other thing I want you to understand. When we evaluate for disabilities that mostly represent externalizing conditions like autism, ADHD, there are no tests that tell us your child has autism or ADHD. So that determination is largely made based on observation. In other words, the psychologist, the psychiatrist, the pediatrician is going to determine your child has autism based on observation. There are no tests.
Oh, okay.
There are no
so
tests.
No head tests.
No. There are no tests. So what I'm saying is,
how can they consider that somebody has autism if it's just a test on a piece of paper?
Because observation is part of assessment. But what I'm saying to you is, because it is an observation, it is somebody's opinion, right? One person observing might say this. Another person observing might say that. So because the determination of autism is largely based on observation and opinion, you should not seek to get your child evaluated for autism until you believe they have it. Don't leave it up to other people. This is your child. And what we have to stop doing as parents is we have to stop letting other people put labels on our children that we are not even sure of yet. You have to agree with it first. You have to agree with it first, and then you go get an evaluator. You don't go get somebody else's opinion until you've made up your own opinion. You follow me?
Oh, okay. I got it. Okay.
And
Because
then
I think I was dumb to it a little bit with the autism. I thought that it's like I knew it was an evaluation, but I thought like it was something else that they were doing to determine things.
Let me give you a comparison example. When we evaluate for a reading disability, there's an actual test that can help us determine that, right? When we evaluate for intellectual disability, there's an actual test to help us determine that. When we evaluate for speech and language impairment, there's an actual test to help us determine that. But there is no actual test for autism. There is no actual test for ADHD because these are observable disabilities. You feel me? You have to see autism. You have to see ADHD. You have to see conduct disorder. You follow what I'm saying? So I need you to understand that for externalizing disorders, that's what we call them. External. That means people see them. They are external. You have to see them. Autism, ADHD, things like that. Those disabilities are largely determined based on observation and opinion. Observation and opinion. And that's why you should not be getting your child evaluated for autism unless you are strongly in support of the disorder that they have.
Okay.
In other words, take your time because autism has no cure. It has no cure. So take your time until you are relatively certain your son may have it. Then you get him tested. There's nothing worse than getting your child tested for something that you're not even sure he has. You want to believe he has it before you listen to anybody else.
I don't believe that he has it. I don't believe he has it.
And that's why you have no business getting him tested. If you don't believe he has it, why does somebody else's observation and opinion matter more to you than your own?
Okay. You're right about that. So is it okay for a kid to have speech therapy?
Sure. I don't see no problem with speech therapy. That's fine.
Because that's what he's in now. He's in speech therapy. And the speech therapist was saying, like, she recommended me getting a second opinion because the first doctor...
A second opinion over what? About what?
Because the first doctor said that he doesn't have it. He
doesn't have what?
He said autism.
Well, the speech therapist is not a psychologist, so they can give you their opinion, but you take that with a grain of salt. She's the speech therapist or he, and they need to stay in their lane. So, be careful with taking opinions from people who are not expert in the area they're giving you the opinion in. Speech therapist is not an expert in autism. So, but again, if she encouraged you to tread cautiously, then that was a good piece of advice.
Yeah. She's a white Caucasian lady or whatever like that. So they just instantly think most black boys have autism or some type of disability or whatever.
They use it too much. They use it too much.
Yeah, because I feel like black little boys are more busy. They more can't sit still certain times and whatever. So they instantly think that they have a problem. They're a little boy with all this energy, they try to use it.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I know my son, so that's why I try to reach out to you to get your advice or your opinion about it. But I know for a fact that he doesn't. He just a busy little boy that's expanding the world. He only been here for 4 years, so he just trying to figure out this world. To me,
I got you, Queen. Well, keep me posted. If you need anything, I'm here. You got my number.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr.
All right now. Be blessed.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Hello.
Good morning, Sister Erica. You're live with Dr. Umar on the Black Parent Teleconference. You're here in Detroit with me?
I am here in Detroit with you. Good morning, Dr. Umar.
Good morning. Go right ahead with your question.
In actuality, Dr. Umar, I don't have a question. I actually have a comment. Sure. I followed you from years ago. I came to one of your parenting conferences in Houston, Texas.
I have been having trouble with my son, and at that time he was in kindergarten. I just want to say that I have followed your teachings, and my son right now has straight A's. He's been on the honor roll since he's been in school. Unfortunately, I live in a suburban area and was not able to understand the importance of African American education at the time when I moved. However, because of your teaching, I have been successful with navigating through all of those things, and my son is doing excellent. In this current semester, he has all A's, and in general, he's been on the honor roll since he's been in kindergarten, and I just want to thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Queen. Thank you, because it's always those positive testimonials and words of encouragement that keep me going. So I'm glad you called in to share that with me, Queen. It means a lot, and it just helps remind me that the work that I do for our parents, despite the hate and the pushback that I sometimes get, that it's not in vain. So I thank you so much for those words. That's very powerful. Very powerful. I appreciate that.
And many people always call and they have a question and they have something. But this time I called, I didn't even want anything from you. I just want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Queen. Thank you so much, Queen. And just to let you know, FYI, I'm going to be speaking at Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti today. It's a 4 to 7 program, and it's inside of the Honors College on the campus of Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti. So if you get some time, slide on through there.
Dr. Umar, I graduated from Eastern Michigan University. I was aware that you was coming, and I'm going to be there. I look forward to meeting you again.
Look forward to seeing you this afternoon, my Queen. Make sure you remind me it's you, so I know it's you.
Sure.
Okay,
no
Queen.
problem.
Peace
Bye-bye.
and love. All right now. Black queens forever, snow bunnies never. Black queens forever, snow bunnies never. It's going down today inside the Honors College at Eastern Michigan University. Doors open up at 3:00 today. It is the first day of Black History Month at Eastern Michigan University's Honors College in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I want to see my Detroit Africans, my Highland Park Africans, my Flint Africans, my Inkster Africans, my Ann Arbor Africans, my Big Rapids Africans, my Kalamazoo Africans, my Lansing Africans, my Grand Rapids Africans, my Ypsilanti Africans. Pull up. It's Black History Month, 99 years later, featuring the Prince of Pan-Africanism, the first Black History Month since the Right Excellent Honorable Marcus Garvey has been pardoned by former President Joe Biden. Let me see if we got any more questions today.
Good morning, Dr. Umar.
Good morning, my beautiful African queen. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Perfect. Go right ahead with your question, beautiful.
Okay, so I just had a quick question. So my son, he is in pre-K4. So beginning of the year, and I actually sent you a message last year. So now he's in a different school. But anyways, beginning of the year, the teacher kind of just sent me an email and just pretty much said that she was having a lot of trouble with him staying still. She said that from the moment he comes in the morning, pretty much until about lunchtime, he doesn't really settle down until after lunchtime. So she just said, I just recommend you just kind of touching base with the pediatrician. She said, because it's not normal. She's like, there's a mixture of kids in the class between 4 and 5. So she's like, out of all the kids, it's pretty much like, it's nothing like she's seen before, basically, is what she said verbatim. So she said, I just think that you should touch base with the pediatrician. Additionally, she said that like during story time, she had to like outline a space for him. So I was like, okay, so what does that mean? So she sends me a picture and he is like it's pretty much like duct tape. he's like outlined in a box. And she said that that's his special space for him to sit there. So I found this out probably a month ago. So I'm just trying to see, I was just talking to my, his dad and my family and just seeing like, is that something that I should bring up to like the principal and stuff like that? Or should I just leave it be? Because she expressed like, oh, but it's working. Like I had to do this because it's the only way that I can get him to stop bothering the other kids.
So let me ask you a question. What grade is your son in?
He's in pre-K 4.
He's in pre-K 4. He does not have a preschool IEP, correct?
He does not, no.
Okay, and she's constantly complaining about the behavior.
Correct.
And what did you say about the duct tape again?
So he's like, she has duct tape, a square pretty much for him to sit in during story time. And it's about, in the picture, it looks like it's about 15 feet away from, I guess, where everybody sits for story
So he's
time.
somewhat being isolated.
Yes, and that's what I was like, you're essentially ostracizing him from the rest of the class. And she's like, oh, no, that's the only way that I can get him to not bother the other kids. She's like, otherwise, he's touching them and he's, I guess, being disruptive.
Okay, so, and this is a preschool, correct?
Yes.
And is this
pre-K 4.
preschool, is it inside of a public school or is it a standalone preschool?
No, it's inside of a public school.
It's inside of a public school.
Correct.
Okay. Does your son have an IEP?
He does not.
Okay. So, yes, you need to write a letter to the principal speaking to the fact that your son is being discriminated against on the basis of behavioral concerns. He's being isolated from the other students. And in your opinion, this constitutes criminalization of your son. That's number one. Number two, okay, is what is the behavior management program in that classroom? In other words, the research tells us and best practice requires us to make sure we are providing our students, especially the young ones, with positive rewards and reinforcement. In other words, if your son is only getting attention when he's doing the wrong thing, he will never improve. What happens when your son does the right thing? If he does, story time with no issues, is there a token? Is there a chart? Is there a pat on the back? Is there any verbal praise? You want to investigate and you want to ask them, what are you doing to encourage positive behavior from my son? Because all I see is him being singled out when he does the wrong thing. And the research clearly shows us that children only improve when attention is being paid to the positive behavior. So if they're only going to pay attention to the negative behavior, he'll never get better. That's number one.
Right.
Number two, is there another pre-K 4 class in that building?
So basically, he was brought in as a transfer. So from what I understood was that there was like no more room. So even when he got in, it was like, how do I call it? I guess they do like a draw system or something like that.
Yes.
So there would be no other room in the other classes, basically.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because I thought about that. I said, I was like, can we get him into another class? And she pretty much was just trying to say that, like, oh, like it's not going to matter because like it's him. In other words, she's like, I don't have this problem with any of the students.
What is the racial makeup of the students in the classroom? Are they mostly black or what's going on?
It's a mixture. I would say it's a mixture.
How many other black boys? How many other black boys?
I would say probably 4.
4 black boys out of how many
There's
students?
A total of 15 of them in the class. It's about 15.
Okay.
15, 18, I think. Mm-hmm.
Well, you definitely need to write a letter. And if you want me to look at the letter, I can, expressing your concern about the isolation, the criminalization, the lack of positive reinforcement. I haven't heard, because no child misbehaves all day. No child.
Right.
So when are you providing my son with positive reinforcement throughout the day? And that would be a question.
Right.
I would like to know when, if ever, is my son provided with positive reinforcement throughout the day. Okay. And then on top of that, the teacher is what, white?
Correct.
Okay. And this school is in a black community?
It's a mix. It's a mix. It's not predominantly black. No.
It's not predominantly black. Okay. Because the other thing you got to think about, sister, and we're not there yet, but you need to think about it. And that is whether one day you may have to write a letter of complaint demanding an investigation due to racial discrimination by that school to the United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights. There is a United States Department of Education Office of Civil Rights, and their job is to investigate accusations of discrimination against children. So if this continues, if they continue to isolate your son, you may have to make a complaint with the Department of Education Office of Civil Rights so they can investigate this. But the other thing I think you should consider doing is Googling black psychologists and black behavioral specialists in Dallas and hiring them. Tell them, I would like to hire you to go into my son's preschool classroom and observe his behavior so you can give me and the teacher some strategies we can use to help him manage his behavior better. You're really hiring him in there to go in there as a spy to tell you what's really happening in that class. That's what you're really doing. But you're not going to call it that. You're going to say we're doing it so he can observe the class and give us some recommendations for how to better work with my son. But you need a letter right now because you got to have a paper trail. You got to have a paper trail.
And I thought about it because I was listening to you. It was quite some time ago about, getting in touch with the other parents that are in the classroom, because my son mentioned, he said, Mommy, my friend, he can't come back to school because the teacher, I don't want to say her name, she said that he wasn't a very good listener. So his mom said that he's not going to come back to that school. And I was just like, is it possible, again, wanting to be fair, but knowing how they are, is it possible that it's not just my son? But I haven't been able to get in contact with those other parents just so that we can just kind of, get together to see if something may be going on.
I got you. Oh, that would be powerful if you could have a meeting with the other parents and come up with a plan of attack. That would be very powerful.
Right.
That would be very powerful.
Said, because when I, if you don't mind, I may have to send you the picture. And my heart almost dropped because I was like, that is not okay. And I said, what about his self-esteem? And she's like, he doesn't seem to display any low self-esteem to me. Right. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not his mom, though. If I was in, and you can clearly see, it's like the yellow duct tape that they use. He is outlined in a square of yellow duct tape. And she's like, this is where he has to sit.
Nah, no child can do that. No child. She's criminalizing your son. She's criminalizing your son. I want you to draft a letter that includes some of the things we talked about. When the letter is ready, I want you to screenshot it and text it to me or email it. If you email it, you got to text me and let me know you emailed it because I get hundreds of emails a day. So I won't even know it's there. So let me know. But it's time for the paper trail now, just so we can protect ourselves in case they try to go any other way with this. But I'm glad it's in a school because since it is in a school, they're obligated to public school law. You know what I mean? So as opposed to it being a separate standalone daycare, we don't have much control over what happens, but because it's in a school, they got to follow the state laws and regulations. So that's a good thing. So he has more rights and privileges. Do not get him tested for ADHD. Do not entertain any conversation about that or medication.
That was lastly too, just as a teacher, are they even allowed, because I'm getting conflicted information, are they allowed to even suggest any testing, like not the principal,
what they can say is your son's behavior appears to be abnormal or odd or different from the other children, and we're concerned that something
Okay.
else may be going on here, and we would like for you to go get him seen professionally by a psychologist or psychiatrist just to see if there's anything we should know about. That's it. But the minute they tell you, I think he has ADHD, they just broke the law. They cannot give an expert opinion or provisional diagnosis because they are not trained in mental health. When they start naming specific diagnoses, they're breaking the law. They can tell you that you can go and have him seen to see if there's something going on. But when they start giving out provisional diagnosis in school, you cannot give out a provisional diagnosis if you're not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or physician or licensed clinical social worker. So they can't do that. So once they start doing that, then they're breaking the law. But you should not entertain. You should not entertain any conversation about ADHD or medication at all. He's too young for it.
Of course.
What are the positive behavior strategies being used in that classroom? That's what I want to see. And you should also have your own behavioral program at home. So if he has a good day at school, you should have a calendar. He gets a smiley face as he has a good day, sad face if he has a bad day. And if he had a good day, he'd get a reward. And if he had a bad day, he'd get some kind of a consequence. You should have one as well. But the teachers is going to matter more than yours, because all behavior is a function of where it happens and the consequences that follow. You cannot control his behavior in the classroom. Only the teacher can do that.
Correct. Yes, I was going to say, I listening to you on another call, I took your advice, and we do have a reward chart set up for him. And again, I was like, I want to be able to mirror what you're doing in the classroom. So if you have a chart, if you have smiley faces or however, so that I can mimic that at home. But as the years going on, it just seems there's more messages daily. There's more emails. And I'm talking about like pages. And it's like, he's 4 or he's 5.
That's why you have to respond to every one of them. They're creating a paper trail on your son. You have to create a paper trail on them. Telephone conversations are not enough. Face-to-face meetings are not enough. You need a paper trail. So in case you ever got to sue them, do a complaint, U.S. Department of Ed, you must have a paper trail.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Once that letter ready, get in touch with me, Queen.
I told my son's dad, I said, as soon as Dr. Umar opens up his school,
y'all coming to Wilmington, Delaware.
So, yes, we're coming.
That's right. We almost there, sister. We just got to lay some floors down, and then we're going to be applying for a certificate of occupancy. And if all goes well, the community grand opening celebration for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy will happen sometime this spring or summer. This is the year. FDMG has to.
I'm so excited.
This is the year right here. This is it.
Yes. Thank you for all you do, Dr. Umar. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Queen.
Take care.
All right, now. Do I have any sisters in Detroit who will come feed me the watermelon? Are there any queens who want to come and feed the prince of Pan-Africanism, the hardest working scholar, orator, warrior in Black consciousness? Come feed me the watermelon. Which one of my sisters are going to come feed me the watermelon? You must be all natural from head to toe. Who's coming to feed me the watermelon? I got a knife right here, sisters. I got a knife for you to cut the watermelon. Feed me the watermelon. Oh, yes. Feed me the watermelon. Oh, yes. Beta males, be quiet. I'm talking to the queens right now. Beta males, be quiet. I'm talking to the queens right now. I need me a Michigan queen. I don't care if she's from Ypsilanti. I don't care if she's from Ann Arbor. I don't care if she's from Inkster, Flint, Pontiac, Highland Park, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Big Rapids, Kalamazoo, Lansing. Which one of my queens is going to come and feed me? The prince of Pan-Africanism needs to be fed. Which one of my queens is going to come and feed me the watermelon? Black queens forever. I said black queens forever. I said black queens forever. Snow bunnies never. Let's go back to the phone. Let's go back to the phone. $20 versus King Kong. $20 versus King Kong. 20 Queens versus King Kong. Get your applications in for 20 Queens versus King Kong. Okay, let me see. I don't want to go on the live. I have a 6-year-old daughter. I'm currently pregnant. I'm terribly worried and concerned about giving birth to a little boy. I love my husband, but I feel like he lacks the ability to teach my son how to be a man. We are in our early 30s. Neither of us are not perfect, but I can see in my husband that he is a beta male. In my opinion, my husband is a beta male and is extremely hard on our daughter. But when it comes to men in his life who I feel are nasty or rude, he doesn't meet them with the same energy. Sometimes I feel like the man in the relationship, and it makes me uncomfortable and uneasy knowing that I have to depend on him to be a father to my son. I am currently in medical school, working part-time, trying to find another part-time job. I feel that he doesn't have the best work ethic. He's comfortable just making pennies. Doesn't do a lot of effort, put a lot of effort in his life. I don't have the strongest village, so I feel that I have no other choices but to try to make this work. I know this will be a hard answer since I'm not on the phone with you, Dr. Umar, but any kind of advice would be greatly appreciated, and I'm open to private sessions with you as well. My beautiful African sister from 571. I'm not sure. What area code is 571? What area code is 571? I'm talking to the sister in 571. What area code is 571? Let me say this to the sister. First of all, don't make any more betas with the beta male. Don't make any more babies with the beta male. Don't make any more babies with the beta male. We can't talk about black men being beta males, ladies, if you're going to keep giving him your sugar box. If he's a beta male, why was he allowed to go swimming in your royal waters? If he is a beta male, why did you allow him to go swimming in your royal sacred waters? No more babies by beta males. Put it on the t-shirt, put it on the hat, put it on the hoodie, wear it to the Super Bowl. No more babies by beta males. Now here's the next thing. I want to know why you still with him, because you're telling me he doesn't produce. He's not making much money. He ain't got no smoke for the men who disrespect you. He's extremely hard on your daughter. He's a beta male. Why are you with him? Would you like to come be one of my co-wives? Would you like to come and be one of my co-wives in Wilmington, Delaware? But no, seriously, sister, seriously, all jokes aside, the question is it time for you to move on? The question is it time for you to move on? I'm sorry you're going through this. I'm sorry he's disappointing you, but does this get better or does it get worse? Let's do a 3-year visionary assessment, my beautiful African sister from the 571. Nobody has told me what area code 571 is. All these ADHD people on my Instagram. All these ADHD people, all these ain't no daddy at home disorder people ain't even told me what city 571 is. But my beautiful queen, 3 years from now, do you expect this to be better or worse? 3 years from now, do you expect him to be better or worse? Let me tell you a little secret, my sister. Let me tell you a little secret. Emotional problems unaddressed always get worse. Psychological problems unaddressed always get worse. Relationship problems unaddressed always get worse. You need out. You have 2 children. You have a daughter. You have a son, God willing, who will be coming into this world soon. 2 babies. It's time for you to move on. You still in your 30s. You only got 2 children. The best of your life is still ahead of you. Are you listening to me, Queen? The best of your life is still ahead of you. The best of your life is still ahead of you. Take your two babies and split. Make sure he still gets visitation, co-custody, legal custody. Don't deny him his children. But I think it's time for you to move on with your life. Because if you keep hanging around, we're going to have this same conversation 10 years from now when you're 43 and 44 with 5 babies in. That don't mean you ain't still got it popping. That don't mean you ain't still got it popping. But 43 and 44, 5 babies in, that's a lot more baggage for your future king to pick up. 33 with 2 seeds, we can manage that. 33 with 2 seeds, we can manage that. 33 with 2 seeds, we can manage that. 45 with 5 seeds, 45. The first thing he gonna ask you is why you ain't been left this man. Why you ain't been left this man? Where's your discipline? Where's your concern for yourself? So my recommendation to you, my beautiful African cinnamon, butter almond, butter pecan, sweet brown sugar, chocolate fudge, African vanilla, butterscotch, warm peanut butter queen, pack your bags, grab your daughter. Your son is still in your belly, and go recreate the life that you want. That is my recommendation to you. Black women got to stop hanging around too long in situations that you know are not going to get better. My recommendation is you must move on, my sister. 2 children, you good to go. 2 children, early 30s, you good to go. You still got a few more babies in you, but I need you to make them babies with the right man, my sister. I need you to make them babies with the right man. Black queens forever, snow bunnies never, no more babies with the beta males. Let's see if we got any more calls. You look so good on your live, Dr. Umar. I want to eat you up. At ease, my queen. At ease, my queen. What do you mean you want to eat up the prince? You look so good on your live. I want to eat you up. What do you mean by that, my beautiful African sister? This is the Black Parent Teleconference, my queen. This is the Black Parent Teleconference. Consciousness over the cookies. Politics over the punani. Revolution over the romance. Institutions over the intimacy. Business before the bedroom. And higher consciousness before the happy hour. Business before the bedroom. Consciousness before the cookie. Politics before the punani. We must stay focused, my beautiful African Atlanta, Georgia queen. We must stay focused, my beautiful African Atlanta, Georgia queen. She said, you look so good on that live. I want to eat you up. Lord have mercy. We must stay focused. Butter almond, butter pecan, sweet brown sugar, chocolate fudge, caramel, nutmeg, pistachio, cinnamon, agave. We must stay focused. Dr. Umar, I'm considering dating outside my race because the black man I was in love with does not treat me right or respect you. My dear sister, there are millions of black men all over the world. My dear sister, there are millions of black men all over the world. If you bunny hop because you always wanted to be penetrated by your slave master. If you bunny hop, my sister, if you bunny hop, I will take this watermelon upside your head. If I catch a sister bunny, you're going to catch a watermelon platter. I'm going to hit you with, listen, sister, if you go bunny hopping, you always wanted to be penetrated by the slave master. Let me see. Do you accept payments via Zelle? For consultation, but not for donation. You can pay me through Zelle for consultation, but not for donation. Let me see.
Hello. Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
You and this watermelon. Dre's Water Ice.
Yes, hold on. My wife called you. Hold on one second.
Yes, sir, King.
Hello.
Peace, Queen. You in the city of Philadelphia?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. Go right ahead with your question, beautiful.
Yes. So my son was recently diagnosed with moderate hearing loss in both ears. This was spring of last year. And so he had tubes put in. He has hearing aids now. He goes to a school in Fairmount, Bache Martin.
I used to be the school psychologist at Bache Martin many years ago. Continue,
Oh
Queen.
my gosh! Wow. So yes, they have a really good program for kids with hearing loss. We actually live in West Philadelphia, and so we commute. But I'm having some trouble because I've been doing a lot of research about hearing loss. This is completely random. No one in our family, had hearing loss. So this is a first. But from the research I've done with hearing loss, it's very normal that people get listening fatigue. And so my son after lunch usually is, really tired, and just has some trouble staying focused in school. So the teachers now want to do a behavioral report. He does have an IEP, but I've told him that, I don't want to do the behavioral report because I just feel that, he has the cards stacked against him, and they're trying to compare him to kindergartners, who don't have hearing loss issues. So I just wanted to know how I can, go about this, because I know it's a system, and I don't want him to, them to try to pipeline him to prison. So I'm just looking for some guidance.
Okay, he's in kindergarten.
Yes, sir.
Okay, he has an IEP. Question, is his IEP for hearing impairment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me ask you this. With his hearing impairment, and he has the hearing aids, does he still need to be in a special ed classroom? Because in my experience, a lot of the children I've worked with who had hearing impairments did not need to be in the special ed classroom, because if they sat at the front of the class with their hearing impairment, they were able to learn as well as the regular children. Is that the case with your son, or does he still struggle even with the hearing aid?
They're saying that he still struggles even with the hearing aids because he's literally learning the sounds of words, like everything for the first time. You know what I mean? He's not like most kids who, had hearing aids when they were born. You know what I mean? So it's like he's literally learning everything from the first time. So they feel that he's behind. We work with him at home daily, and we know that he can do math. He can do, his ABCs and things of that nature. But he's not ready yet for, reading. He's still comprehending.
Okay. A couple things. Number one, you might want to consider getting a tutor out of school on your own.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to leave it up to the school district of Philadelphia, because they are absolutely horrible. Mm-hmm. And as a former school district of Philadelphia psychologist, I can tell you they do the bare minimum. Now, Bache Martin historically has been better than some of the other schools in the city. But at the same time, I would not want his progress to be left up to them. So get him a tutor to help reinforce those academics. Is he meeting with the speech and language therapist at all?
Yes, sir. He does meet with them, I think, once a week.
Okay. And I'm going to say this to you as well. Most children in America who have speech and language impairment, they only qualify for about 30 to 60 minutes a week of speech. That's nothing at all. And the reason why they only give our children 30 to 60 minutes of speech is because they don't have enough speech pathologists to go around. And I can tell you, some of them speech pathologists in the school district of Philadelphia are lazy as hell. Not all of them, but many of them. They don't even give your son the 30 minutes he's supposed to get. So you want to make sure he's checking in with you when he get home to let you know he saw the speech therapist that day or that week. Because if he goes too many weeks and you say, have you seen a speech therapist today? You're going to need to write a letter to the principal trying to find out why the speech therapist is not seeing your son, for the 30 or 60 minutes he's supposed to get as laid out on the IEP, because the IEP is a legal contract between you and the school district of Philadelphia. And if they're not keeping their end of the bargain up, they will owe you and your son compensatory education services. What that means is all the money that the school district of Philadelphia received to give your son speech therapy and hearing impairment support, That money will go into an escrow account so you can go and find you a real speech therapist privately and a real hearing support teacher privately to work with your son with the money that they were given but never adequately used on your son. So make sure you keep good documentation, throughout this whole process. I think you should also look and see if, and you can contact the Philadelphia City Department of Recreation. The Philadelphia Department of Recreation puts out a book. They have a booklet. It might be online now, but they have a booklet that has all of the publicly funded after school programs and summer programs in the city. I would love for your son to go into one of the hearing support camps with other children who also have hearing aids. You feel me? So he can get a couple friends who are dealing with the same thing he's dealing with, so he don't feel like an odd fish in the fishbowl. You know what I mean? And plus, they'll also work with him to teach him how to better listen and learn and process and everything with his hearing aid. So we got to get him around some other hearing impaired children because he's going to need their support and they're going to need his support. But your biggest thing is to make sure they are working with your son. Also, if there's any hearing devices, in addition to what he already has, if there's any hearing devices or learning devices that you feel your son needs in order to be successful in school, bring it to the IEP team. Do not pay for it out of your pocket. The reason the special ed children get extra money is so that money could be spent on their education. The problem with Black parents is we never make them spend the extra special ed money on our children. So if there's some type of device he needs, even if it's something because here's the thing, since he struggles with learning, he's going to need to have things written down a lot too, so he can review them in print. So for all of it, one of the things I would request at my IEP team meeting, and if there's not one coming up, you can call one whenever you want. There's no limit to how many IEP meetings you can call. But I would say that the teacher, every teacher he has, need to have a separate set of instructions that are written on paper. This way, my son doesn't have to keep asking the teacher to repeat himself or repeat herself. So I want all of my son's instructions on paper to be given to him during each subject. So in other words, these are the instructions for science. These are the instructions for language, so forth. In language he can understand as a kindergartner, right? Yeah, so that like way, pictures. Absolutely. Because what you don't want to do, to what you said earlier about the listening fatigue, you don't want a situation where the teacher talking so fast, he's not catching it because he's still trying to master the usage of his hearing aid. And so he just gets so frustrated that he throws up his hands, gives up, and he stops trying to hear what she's saying. Because a lot of these teachers, I'm just going to be honest, they're not sensitive to our disabled children. They're not sensitive to Black people, period, let alone the disabled. So one of the accommodations you should have on the IEP is that every set of instructions, homework, and anything that children are expected to hear with their ears, your son should also have in printed word. It should be in print. Make that a requirement. Yes. Make that a requirement. And then he could take that home with you. And so now you can look at the very same printed instructions that your son got in school, and you can go over that with him at home.
That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
But just keep a paper trail. If they start messing up on you, Queen, keep a paper trail. Send an email, send a letter, say, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this. I need y'all to change this. This ain't working. Keep a paper trail, because if you get to the point where the school district of Philadelphia, you feel, God forbid, but 3-4 years from now, you feel that they failed your son, then it's time for us to go to due process, take the school district of Philadelphia to due process with the state of Pennsylvania, and tell the state of Pennsylvania that the school district of Philadelphia cannot meet the needs of my hearing impaired child, and I want them to pay for him to go to a private school at district expense. The law says that if a parent can prove that a school district cannot properly educate their child, you can make them pay for your child to go to a private school at public school expense.
Wow. Yeah. And I heard of a really good lawyer here that will help parents.
Absolutely. But yes, they will. Now, be careful with the lawyers. Now, don't get me wrong. 80% of the time, they help you. But 20% of the time, I've seen them take deals behind the parents' back. So you got to be careful with them, because this is how it works. A special ed lawyer is like any other lawyer. So they might have 30 cases, right? And they're going to look at the cases that they're going to spend the most attention on. And then the rest of the cases, they want to try to close them out as quickly as possible. And in closing out them other cases as quickly as possible, your son can end up getting shortchanged.
Right.
So when you talking to them, if they feel like they not about to fight, if they trying to get you to settle for something that you don't want, do it yourself or find another attorney. The good thing about special ed is a parent can fight on your own without a lawyer up until a certain point. So I would say exhaust your process first before you go to them.
Definitely.
Because that will only give you more paperwork in a thicker paper trail for you to turn over to the lawyer if you do need to call on them.
That makes sense.
And to that point, good sister, and I wasn't going to let the people know this, but I don't mind. I signed up to take the LSAT in March because I might have to go back to law school to become an educational attorney. Now, don't get me wrong. This is my 5th time signing up for it, and I never take it because I never get time to study and practice. But this time, I think I'm going to take it, even if I don't get a chance to study, because something in me tells me I need to get my educational law degree.
That's right. We need you. And we're so thankful, for all that you do for us. So
I appreciate you, Queen.
Thank you for your time. God
No
bless
problem.
you.
Take care now. God bless.
You too.
All right now.
Thank you.
I think that's it. So we was on the Black Parent Teleconference for 3 hours. We started at 8 o'clock. It is now 11:14. So I hope y'all learned something. I hope y'all hit the Cash App, $. In fact, this is what we going to do. For the next 20 minutes, I'm going to close this out. I'm going to come back on the Instagram Live. And if you make a donation to FDMG in honor of the first day of Black History Month, I'm going to shout you out. So hit your Cash Apps right now. Hit your Cash Apps and hit your PayPal. And Dr. Umar going to shout you out. FDMG does not have Zelle. FDMG does not have Apple Pay. FDMG does not have Venmo. It has to be Cash App, $FDMG School, or PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. This is your big brother, King Kong. Eastern Michigan University, 4 o'clock today, Honors College. Black History Month begins in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Peace and Pan-Africanism.